searching for you. But if there's none, what am I searching for? Still you. Some sort of you. Not for myself? Am I you? Need I search for me? For myself? Is myself you? I know. Capital Self. Is that you? Is it me? Why search? I seem to be built to. Search dog. Search hound. Built that way. That's me. I know me. Do I know you? Do I at all? Have I had some signs or flashes? Any clues? Was that a clue? What one? Any one I can have had, or think I've had, or imagine myself to have had, in times past, or even now as I ask. Is asking a clue? Is wanting to know what you are, who you are, any proof that you are, that you're there? Wasting time. I might be using it. For what? What use it for when all I want to know is where you are? I go on searching. I was born for that. I don't remember being born. What makes me sure I was? Or that I was for anything? Time for distraction. I'll count to 150. Count to 150 by threes. I'll start at 150 and work back by threes and fours. 147, 143, 136, 133, 129, 126, 122, 119, tedium. I'll return to the search. Cross-legged, silencing the mind. Do I have legs? My body has. I can cross and uncross them. I cross them now and sit with, is it mine? My spine, erect. I sit with spine erect and stare, not fiercely, into the dark. I'm searching again, as I always am, as I always do. One way as good as another. Looking straight ahead, not fiercely, with only one object in mind. No objects. Looking straight ahead and waiting. Waiting, not searching. Searching and waiting. How do I know what it is? I know. I know because I keep doing it. Waiting and searching. For what? For whom? How will I know when I found it? Found him. Found you. How wouldn't I know? How could I expect not to know what I'd found when I found you? Do I just go on searching, looking, waiting? Do I find you? Do you find me? Will I know I've been found? How wouldn't I know? How would I not know what I was looking for? But I don't. But I do. I've been doing it for so long. I must know something. Not much. Not enough to hold on to. a vague idea. Do I know what I'm not looking for? I do. Do I know what I am? I don't. Would I know you if I saw you? Would I know you if you came toward me, down the street, staring into the dark at night? Would I know you if I saw you staring back? Not staring, looking. Would I know your face if I saw it? Would I think it was you? Have I seen you before? Do I know? Do you know where it was? When it was? Is there any chance I'd remember? Something I remembered about standing in the rain, on the street, upright, of course, and in the driving rain. Not driving, a vertical downpour. Night, and under a light in the downpour of rain. Did I ask any questions then? Did I see a face? I was absolutely alone on the street. Alone. I was part of the rain. Not part of the rain. Part of the moment the rain was about. I knew where I was. I knew what I was doing. I knew what the rain was doing. There was nothing particular about it to recall. I remember other times, some only in dreams. Times I'd recognize if I saw them again. Times of things coming together, working together. What do any of these things have to do with you? Why do I remember them? Why do I sift through them? I do, but not because I know what they may hold, if there's anything they hold. Times of feeling you were there, that you were close. A hall, a corridor, walking down a corridor, the damp stone walls, the smell of dampness, cold, but a feeling of what? That I wasn't alone, that someone was near, not visible, but near me, that someone was there. Who, though? Or in a dream, in a house, a low sort of house, a cabin by the river, wide window, looking out on the river, house very steady, river moving slowly, and in between light, either dark or light, twilight, between night and morning. No, evening and night. Between evening and night, I'm inside the house, cross-legged, not crossed, just sitting on the floor, looking out at the river. Dark river, gray light. I'm not alone, or I am, but not alone like now. I'm waiting, not waiting. I'm there. When I'm there, you're there. When I'm not, you're not. If I'm not here, I'm waiting. Try it again. When you're here, I'm here too. And when you're not, then I'm not. Where am I then? When you're not here? I'm nowhere. What am I doing? Nowhere. Waiting. I'm sitting in what we'll call nowhere, looking into the dark and waiting. I ought to be able to say it better than that. But how? By not trying? I'll try not to try. I'll try to say it the way it is, the way I see it. But I won't try too hard. Trying too hard gets me off the track. I know where I am now. I know I can get some part of it said. I can if I don't try too hard. Wake up and wait. Lie down and wait. Sit up again and wait. All in the dark now. No way of telling day from night. Do I expect to hear a sound? Do I expect to hear a voice? See a light? A dim one? A bright one? See a face? I sit up. I'm alert. Do I know what to expect? I don't know what to expect, but I do know what I'm doing. I know what it feels like to be doing what I'm doing. I feel like a sentinel. I'm on guard duty. I don't know what to expect. Friend or enemy? Friend. I'm waiting for a friend. Someone who may become a friend, may turn out to be one. Why wait? Why watch? What better have I to do? Have I anything else to do? Might sing. Sing in this darkness? How would I hear your voice if I were singing? Might count. No counting. Count very softly. No. My childhood was a happy one. I was this, I was that. My parents adored me. I remember that. I wanted for nothing. I was fully supplied. Practically, there was nothing I might have asked for. I didn't ask. I didn't offer. If I asked, I was given. If I sought, I found. So much for the early years. I can barely recall them. School. I went to one in the country. A small school with a single master. I must have done well enough in my studies. I remember no rewards and no punishments, or few. When the master spoke to the class, he seemed to be talking to the other students. I never felt he was talking to me. As I reached the age of puberty, the whole experience came to an end. We must have moved to the city then, and my schooling was over. Schooling was over, and my waiting began. I'm sure that's about when it started. It must have begun very quietly. I didn't notice it begin. I realized I was doing something new. I didn't know I was waiting. I knew I was doing something almost all the time, some new thing, something that joined one day to the next. I never wondered what I was doing anymore. I knew I was doing that thing. That thing. But not that I was waiting. I was simply continuing. I was going from day to day with just one purpose: to remain in the state I was in. What state? A state of alert. But alertness for what? I hadn't even a wisp of a notion at that point. Like a prisoner, waiting for reprieve, counting the days, not counting, not knowing what to count or why to count it, waiting for one thing, one moment, one event. I didn't feel like a prisoner, but I was waiting like one, doing nothing else but waiting. Or like a child, a fetus, I mean. I'd never thought of that, but it was like that, waiting in darkness, warm or lukewarm darkness, to be born. I was waiting for things to start happening. I was waiting to begin to be. Or like waiting for a letter that doesn't arrive, that will arrive, but hasn't yet. It will or it won't. There's nothing you can do to bring it along. Can you think about it all the time? You can't. But can you forget it? I do think about it all the time. I don't. But I don't forget. Always somewhere in the back of my mind, up front, right here, right there. Candle flame, glowing in some dark corner. Vigil light, or a window on the dark. You see nothing from inside. There's just the possibility of seeing. Like waiting in a sunless valley, in a narrow pass between two mountains, waiting for a ray of light. Families live there all year around, never see the sun, never stop waiting. Night follows day, but sun never falls directly into the chasm. Always a shadow, always a cloud. When the wind blows, I listen to the wind. When the rain falls, I listen to the rain. I sift through the sounds to see if there's another, to see if there's one I can cling to and call my own. Nothing so far. I open my eyes in the dark and see darkness. I close my eyes, even in the light, and see darkness. All the same darkness. Almost the same. Light comes and goes, but the darkness stays. Almost always the same. A fairly steady darkness. One you can count on. Almost. Sounds come and go, but the silence remains. Silence unbroken, except for occasional noises. The substance is silence. Dark silence. There's always some stir, some light, some sound. Then they stop, and there's only dark silence. I wait in the dark, in the rain. No sound but the rain. waiting, not waiting, doing nothing but waiting. Does the darkness move? Does the silence move? They don't, and neither do I. Are they waiting? I have no way of knowing. I don't know if it waits, but I think it moves. The darkness does. There are masses of it, masses in it, and they shift. A silent moving of force against force, mass against mass. A feeling of chaos, too. Not total chaos. Movement of dark things in darkness. Looking for order. Looking for some relief from total, all but total, chaos. Dark things moving in darkness, trying to find some kind of adjustment, some form of order. I look into the dark and see darkness. No more light than at the half-imagined edges of these dark objects. Darkness made up of objects slowly turning, jostling and turning, slowly turning, trying to discover some kind of accord. I'm not really waiting. I'm watching. Watching while waiting. Looking into the darkness and watching it move. Watching the movement of dark things in darkness. A push from the left, a push from the right, a struggling movement up from below. Did I say it was chaos? It isn't chaos. It's some kind of action. There's some kind of action in it. Some kind of will. Is it my will? I don't think it's my will. It's just the will of the things that are moving. Things, or whatever they are. Sections of darkness. Ice flows of darkness. Afloat in the sea. Drifting, turning, colliding, smacking up against each other, breaking, turning, drifting. Dark whales that swim in the night sea. They swim toward each other, and away. Dark dolphins leaping above the dark sea. Purpose of movement. What purpose? Porpoises. Cross purposes. Dark dolphins. Just before dawn. A dip in the night sea. Dark rocks. Dark dolphin. Dark wave. No, it isn't like that. All dark, but it isn't like that. Darker, more solid, less budge. Not budgeless, but not so much moving around. No smacking together. A bump, a thud, no smacking. A black curtain scene, hardly moving, most of the time. Dark, like a black cat. Dark and shiny. It has its dormant times, its active times. Catnap and catnip. Sleeping and leaping. First one, then the other. Active dark, passive dark. Sometimes you watch, sometimes you wait. Looking into the dark, do I see a black cat? I just see the dark. but it changes. Like this, and like that. Like a cat, like a cloud, light cloud, phosphorescent, but only lightly phosphorescent. In a field, light cloud, afloat in dark field. Light, barely visible, inner light of light cloud, phosphorescent, afloat, hardly moving, not adrift, not standing, afloat, hardly moving in night dark field. I found work at last, watchmaker's assistant, clockmaker's, rather. I brought him the sand. He fashioned the globes and measured the hours. I brought him minuscule white cups of coffee, too. Not every hour by any stretch, and not often, even on time. But it was a job, a means of livelihood of sorts, that didn't interfere with my real work, my continuing preoccupation, or hardly ever did. He didn't like dreaming. He did like the sound of feet running. What he got in the hours, days, nights, and what must have been months I was with him was a little of each. Some running, some standing and dreaming, more running, more standing, sitting, or leaning against the door frame, obviously dreaming. It was, as I've said, a livelihood. Not rich, not an inch above subsistence, but enough to let me continue in my chosen way. My way at that time was ill-defined, but pursuable. There were nights, midnights, when I could sit up, alone, on the cot he'd assigned me, eyes closed, eyes open, to watch and wait, hardly breathing, fully alert as I could be to any change in the darks, part light but mostly dark configurations. This watching might go on for hours, 1 or 2 or 3, sometimes till dawn, or till just a moment or two before dawn, till at last I'd lie down again for an hour's sleep. The longer the long nights watching, the slower the next day's running for sand and coffee. The less dreams by night, the more by day, standing, sitting, listing, leaning, mooning about, to end one day, gently or abruptly, by mutual accord, and before many days, weeks, months had gone by, it did. The situation ended, that is. The job did. But not for a moment my underlying pursuit. If anything, it intensified in the months of physical fast and privation that followed. The cot was gone, but the world had become my pallet. Wherever I slept or slept not was now my preserve. I've forgotten the number and kinds of places I found, whatever was sheltered. I didn't need much. The weather was clement, and I'd grown accustomed to the rigors of uncushioned existence in its commoner forms. My observatory powers, in the meantime, had grown keener. I could see in the dark. I could see much further into the dark than before. I saw more then than I had before, and more than I see now in my present state. my fallen state. But I'm getting ahead of my story, if that's what it is. My fallen state, if that's what it is. My dark night of the soul, if that's what it is. My long nights waiting, if that's what it is. I saw a lot more then. On those nights of sleeping, not sleeping, under bridges, sleeping, not sleeping, on benches, under trees, in barns, or on church steps, that I'm seeing now. No matter. I continue to watch. I continue to watch, and that's what counts. What counts if anything does. Something does, but the question I more often ask myself is, who counts it? Do I? I do, but does anyone else? Does anyone else in the universe count what happened? Does anyone else in the universe know what matters? Does anyone care, I mean, personally care? Oh well, why get into that, as long as I do? And I do seem to want to know what's going on from moment to moment, why it's going on, what counts from moment to moment. I want to know, seem to want to know, what it's all, or even what any small part of it is about. Image follows image. Image flows into image. Not one stays long enough to describe. White writing on black. White web in dark night. Pale sliver of moon appears and disappears. Where is the energy? Where is the push? The white is drifting about in the black, appears and disappears, forms and disintegrates quietly, forms, drifts, and disappears. White's a light foam, the black is the sea. Black lives, rises, expands, subsides. Black has energy. Black has its law. White forms at random. The black has a plan. Black grows like a tree. Black moves like the sea. There are nights, there are times when there's no white at all, or it's so dim, green or gray, you would hardly call it present. Just a film, just a mist, the memory of a glow. But the black sea, the black tree, is always there, always growing, always living, always changing, full of energy and on the move, but always there. Should I watch the white? Should I watch the black? I look into the black and see the white moving before it. I look into the dark. I don't look into the light. The light disappears if I watch it. The dark remains. An eye. Do I see an eye? Looking back at me in the dark. It's like an eye. Has a point, a pupil, flashes and disappears. Flash, dim white flash. I see the corner of the eyelid, too, outer corner. Nice line. Two graceful curves, joined at the corner. Dim white. Sometimes I see it. Hardly, but see it. Eye looking back. Not fiercely, no, but gently, intensely, just steadily. from deep in the dark, like something in nature, deep in the woods, or as though my own eye could see itself looking. My eye meets the eye in the dark. The eye in the dark meets mine. No fire exchanged, just two quiet glances. My eye, your eye. Or even if it's mine and mine. Why should my eye look at your eye? Why should yours look into mine? Am I seeking out a glance, a look in darkness? Hundreds of eyes I've looked at and into, not just in the dark, at every hour of the day, looking for what? Some kind of response? Eyes of every ocular shape and color, of every degree of liveliness and flaccidity. Some that weren't alive at all. Some that looked like exploding universes. I worked for a while for an entrepreneur. I brought him the cardboard. He cut out the forms. I ran for the oil. He filled the lamps. At night, his shadows moved across the screen. Children in the audience screamed with delight. But I trembled. After the first few evenings, I didn't watch at all. The works were comedies, mostly, but not for me. Too many characters beheaded, or almost beheaded. Too many hard slaps delivered to the jaw. It wasn't the proper environment for me to grow in. I told him so, not knowing whether or not he would understand. After a number of days, nights, weeks, months, the arrangement came to an end, and I was left on my own again, still waiting. For you, for someone or something I'd recognize, a person, a moment, a sign you were there, or had been, or were going to be, soon. Those comedies didn't help me find you. I was glad to be out in the dark again, where I could forget them. Not that I ever forget a thing. It's all there. All I've done, all that's ever happened, is still there, somewhere in suspension, waiting in the wings, or riding above the tide, above it or below it. It's all there somewhere. It's just that I don't recall it, never do, or seldom. Never try to recall it to mind. Never try to replay the scene. Why should I? It's not in my interest. Not in my interest, because if I'm looking anywhere, and I am, I'm looking ahead. I'm looking toward some point, some vanishing point, or anyway, not yet visible point, in the distance, in the future, where something or someone I'd recognize would appear, where you would appear. Some person, some moment, some atmosphere that I'd recognize as very much mine would be there. My person, my beloved, if you like, my sought-after being, my remembered one, would be there. The one I'd looked for. The one I'd sought without any clear idea of who he or she might be, of what he or she might look like, would appear. Not, as I said, that I had no idea, not no idea, but no clear one. Not an idea I could hold well in mind, far less an idea than a feeling, a dim, unfading area of light, a possibility as yet unfulfilled, a readiness to recognize someone, something, you. A readiness to recognize you. That's all I've brought. That's what I bring to the encounter. And there will be, I still feel sure, there will be an encounter. I worked for a printer for a little while. I brought him the wood. He cut out the letters. He'd line them up, and we'd smear them with ink. I brought him wine, too, and a handful of almonds every so often throughout the day. I don't know what his novels were about, but the work was peaceful. I'd have stayed with him forever if he hadn't been arrested. I was out for wine and almonds when the authorities arrived. The shop was empty when I returned. Letters and ink all over the floor. Back to the streets, the parks, the quays. Back to standing and looking, watching, not watching the passers-by. Looking for a face in the crowd, a particular one that I'd recognize, and in a particular way. Did I think I'd find it? Did I know I'd find it? I knew I was engaged in just one thing, in looking and looking. And back to nights of looking outward and in, not knowing which way I'm looking, but waiting and looking. Back to the night watch, day watch and night watch, dusk to dawn, dawn to dusk, midday to midnight. I don't say I didn't tire. I did. I tired. But I didn't give up. I didn't give up because I couldn't. I didn't because I was made to go on waiting. Made, put together, invented, born for that single, singular purpose. To watch, to wait. There's no giving up on the thing you were made to do. There's no giving up on being who you are. Not for me, anyway. There was no giving up on being who I was, and there's no giving up on it now. I'm into the business of doing what I'm doing, of being who I am, and of waiting for whoever it is I am and have always been waiting for. Into it, I guess, because for the moment, there's nowhere else I could be, or would much want to be. I've gotten accustomed to standing on corners and waiting, lying on benches and waiting, standing up in the heart of a forest, or just in the wooded part of a park, and waiting. I've wondered sometimes if you came and I saw you and I knew you were there, if I'd continue to go on waiting. It could be like that, but I don't think it would. I don't even think it could be. It couldn't, because if you came, things would change. 1,000, maybe 1,000,000 things would change. My whole life would change. I know that. I've known that much from the beginning. This, that, him, her, This red, that blue, this red, this red, this blue, this blue, this red, that blue, that blue, that red, this blue, that blue, that red. I like this rock. I like this rock. I like those stones. I like those stones. I like this rock. I like this rock. I like those stones. I like those stones. I like those stones. I like this weed. I like this weed. I like those stones. I like those stones. I like this rock. You must always, you must always, you must never, you must never, you must always, you must always, you must never, you must never, you must never, you must always, you must always, never, always, never, a man who knows everything. A woman who knows everything. A man who knows everything. A woman who knows everything. A man who knows nothing. A woman who knows nothing. Everything. Everything. Nothing. Blicka, 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 blicka. Blacka, 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 blacka. Blick, blick, blick. Black, 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 blicked, 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 black. Zebo, zabo, zebo, zabo. Zeeb, zeeb, zab, zab. Zebo, zebo, zabo, zabo. Zab, zeeb, zeeb. Win, one, win, one, win, one, one. Win, one, win, one, win, one, one. Win, one, win, one. Win, one, one. Nice lady, nice man, good child. The letter, kill. The spirit, give. The letter, kill. The spirit, give. The life, the life, the letter, kill. The life, the life, the spirit, give. Happy, alone. Happy, with. Unhappy, alone. Unhappy, with. It is a trap. It's not a trap. It is a trap. It's not a trap. It is. It is. It's not. It's not a trap. A trap. A trap. Looks like another ending. It is. It is. It is. One word, no word, some words, none. Worded, wordless, certain, few. None or many, many or few. Word of approbation, single word. A single word of enthusiastic approval, a cheer, a shout, responding glance, responding smile, light touch, light touches, one, many. Where I am, there you are. Where you are, there am I. Build up and tear down. Intake, intake, output, output, intake, intake, output, output, in, out, out, take, take, put, collapse, collapse, survive, survive, collapse, collapse, survive, 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 do it. Don't do it. Undo it. Do. Flash to ink. Ink to flash. Flash to ink. Ink to flash. I seek. You seek. You seek. I find. I find. You find. Weary, bleary, dreary, kiss me, kiss me. Don't kiss me. Don't kiss me. Kiss me. kiss me. Don't. Be like you are. Don't be like you are. Be like you want to be. Don't. My life, your life, my house, your house, my demise, your demise, my birth, yours. Uniting that with this. Uniting this with that. Uniting that with that. Uniting this with this. Uniting this with that. Uniting that with this. Uniting this with this. Uniting that with that. The inner, the inner, the outer, the outer, the outer, the outer, the inner, the inner, the inner, the inner, joined to the outer. The outer, the outer, joined to the inner. The outer, the outer, the inner, the inner, the inner, the inner, the outer, the outer, the outer,
the outer, joined to the inner, the inner, joined to the outer. Combining, uniting, uniting, combining, uniting, combining, joining, fusing, joining, fusing, joining, combine, unite, combine, unite, combine, uniting, dividing, uniting, dividing, uniting, a city, with God, a man, with God, A city? A city? United with God? A man united with God? All, nothing, something, all. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe out, breathe out. The said, the unsaid, the known, the unknown. Inner dialogue, inner monologue, silence. Way east, way west, way east, way west, way west, way west, way east, way east, way east, way west, way east, way west, way west, way west, way east. North, north, south, north, north, south, east, east, west, west, north, south, man to man, man to woman, woman to woman, woman to man, a man, a man, a woman, a woman, a woman, a woman, a man, a man, a man, a man, a woman, a woman, a woman, a woman, a man, sometimes stable, sometimes mad, sometimes neither stable nor mad. Incarnate, disincarnate, reincarnate, the first word, the second word, the first word, the second word, the third word, the third word, the first word, the second, what is the difference? What is the similitude? What is a color? What is a tone?
evolve, converge, converge, evolve. Win a few, lose a few, win a few, lose a few, win a few, win a few, lose a few, lose a few, win a few, lose a few, win a few, lose a few, win a few, win a few, don't say a thing. Let a thing say itself. Reckless, reckless, cautious, 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 reckless, 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 cautious, cautious, reckless, cautious, cautious, along, goodbye. A short goodbye. A long goodbye. A short goodbye. Goodbye before the last goodbye. The last goodbye. Goodbye. The man inside, the man outside, the man inside, the man outside, the outside man, the inside man, The outside man. The inside man. Let sleeping be sleeping. Let waking be waking. Let sleeping and waking be sleeping and waking. Let waking be waking. Let sleeping be sleeping. Let waking and sleeping be waking and sleeping. Sleep, sleep. Wait, wait. Sleep and wait. Wait and sleep. Pure, pure, impure, impure, pure, pure, impure, impure, very pure, very impure, pure, pure, impure.
Because when there isn't any this, there isn't any that. When there isn't any that, there isn't any nothing. When there isn't any nothing, there isn't any this. When there isn't any this, there isn't any that. Because if there's only this, there's never that. Only that, there's never this. Only this, and only that, then never that, and never this. Because if all we ever have is this, if all we ever have is that, we never have enough of this. We never have enough of that. Because whatever we may have of this, whatever we may have of that, there's never quite enough of this. There's never quite enough of that. Because of this, because of that, because of this, because of that, because of these, because of those, we never have enough of that. Because we wanted this, we wanted that, we wanted this, we wanted that, we hoped for this, we hoped for that. We never found enough of that. Look for this. Look for that. Look for this. Look for that. Never finding half of this. Never finding half of that. Lacking this, lacking that, longing for this, longing for that. Probably would have, somehow, somewhere, anyway. No how, nowhere, never. Texts, pretexts, arranged, disarranged, rearranged, likeness, similarity, difference, likeness, similarity, contrast, harmony, disharmony. Things go together, work together, play together, cooperate, harmonize, mesh, fuse, swing together, interact, synergize, play into each other, help each other function, work hand in hand, click, gel, get along together, get along with each other, playing duets, quartets, complement each other, agree, are in accord, function organically. Each plays its role in a working system, network of actions, reactions. It's a poem in a square format. Whatever you lose, you lose. Whatever you gain, you gain. Whatever you gain, you lose. Whatever you lose, you gain. Whatever you gain, you gain. Whatever you lose, you lose. Whatever you lose, you gain. Whatever you gain, you lose. Characterize, categorize. 2 words, 2 words, 1. 2 words, 2 words, 1. 2, 2, 1, 1. 2, 2, 1. Preach, practice, practice, preach. Run for danger. Lope for fun. Art and life, war and peace, universe and multiverse. Inching forward, rolling back. Press hard, press soft, press, don't press. Just because this, not necessarily that. The flow of this, the flow of that, the flow of this, the flow of that, the weight of this, the weight of that, the weight of this, the weight of that. The live who are live, the dead who are dead, the half alive, the all but dead. The living, the living, the dead, the barely living, the almost dead. Move gently, move gently, move slow, move slow, move gently, move gently, move slow. Fierce, fierce, fast, fast, gent, gent, slow. Laughing, moaning, groaning, screaming. Wife, husband, conductor, orchestra. Faith against nature. Nature against faith. Faith with nature. Nature with faith. Comes and goes. Isn't here, isn't there. Father fig, mother fig, daughter fig, son. Die mother, die father, die mother, the father, the son, the son, the son, the son, the mother, the mother, the father, the father, the son, the son, the son. It goes in, goes in, goes in, cool. It comes out, comes out, comes out, warm. It goes in, goes in, goes in, cool. It comes out, comes out, comes out, warm. It goes in, cool. It comes out, warm. It goes in, goes in, goes in, cool. In one, out the other, but don't think it doesn't go in. My way, your way, your way, my way, your way, your way, the way, the way, the way, the way, my way, yours. Something, nothing, everything.